Why do young men hide things? That's what I'm going to discuss today. I'm sure that as a parent, you're frustrated to see your son hiding things from you. You know that he's doing certain things, but every time you confront him about it, he refuses to give in. He says that he doesn't do it, he denies it every time, and you're sick and tired of this. Today, I want to discuss how you can confront him in a way that maybe will allow him to open up and be honest with you. Right? I know so many parents, including my own, who, I love my parents, but they came at me with an aggressive attitude when they would first find out that I was engaging in something they didn't approve of, like nicotine, for example. The first time my parents found my vape, they came at me with a very aggressive attitude. And look, I get it. I was young, and they had every right to be mad at me. Spending their hard-earned money on that, something that was damaging my health, no, they did not approve of that. So I completely understand their frustration. But it was basically a yelling spree. And I just stood there and let them give me the lecture, and then I went on my way. And that only caused me to be more defiant toward them. I know so many parents who do this with their sons. They confront them in an aggressive manner, and then their sons go even further down the rabbit hole. This caused me to engage in that habit for years, a couple of years. Same with weed. They find out I'm doing it, they get mad, and that causes me to do it even more. And then that led to dependence and me feeling bad about myself for doing it every single day. So when you're confronting your son, I think the best method, and from what I've seen is the best method, is to come at him from a place of empathy and compassion. Of course, you can say that you don't approve of what he's doing. Say, look, I don't approve of what you're doing. I think it's wrong, and both you and me know that this is damaging your health if it's vaping or smoking weed, for example. But you can say that. Both me and you know that this is damaging your mental and physical health. So is there something you'd like to talk about? Is there a reason why you're engaging in this habit? It's most likely the case that your son is engaging in the habit because he's hanging around people, and you might not know who these people are. See, I used to say that I was going to hang out with so-and-so, and then I would hang out with someone else that my parents didn't know in an environment that was very loose, and the parents of those friends didn't really care what they did. So I started hanging around people whose parents let them do whatever they wanted. And that's why I would go and hang out with them, because my parents rebelled against me and I rebelled against them. And it was kind of this back and forth. So I said, I'm just going to leave the house. And for a long time, I was barely home. I was out every single day, coming home at night, leaving in the morning, coming home at night, always out and about doing things. Parents didn't know where I was. And look, I don't know if you need a tracker on your son. That's a decision for you to make. But what I do know is that by cultivating an understanding relationship with your son, he will be more honest with where he is going. And to nip these things in the butt early on, rather than, like I said, coming at him from an aggressive place. Like my parents, again, I love them. They did that with me at first, and so many of my other friends' parents, I watched fights between them all the time. So, but also you don't want to be the parent that lets their kids do whatever they want and not confront them. So it's coming at them again from a calmer place and really analyzing, why they're doing what they're doing. And if you don't think that the kids that your son is hanging out with are doing those things, he's not hanging out with them. He's hanging out with another group of kids that you don't know of, and he's allowing himself to be easily influenced by them. So, I know so many men, young men, who are struggling, who are facing dependence on certain things, and as a parent, I know how frustrating that is. I was dependent on nicotine and weed. Of course, there's worse things out there, and so many people in high school do these things, but I mean, these things really had a psychological hold over me. It was a lot different for myself. I'm sure a lot of my other friends felt the same way. They just didn't really ever admit it, and they still do it today. So I'm not saying that I'm the only person that felt that way, but engaging in those habits will ruin your son's mental health, and along with it, his physical health. Because when you aren't in control of your actions, when you can't stop doing something, and you can't say, all right, I'm done with this for good, and you have to use something as a crutch to keep you functioning all day, that's when the relationship will break off. None of my friends who smoked weed and vaped every day had a close relationship with their parents. None of them. Okay? So if you're a parent that is very lackadaisical, lets your son do whatever he wants, I have to tell you that is a dangerous path to go down. Because one day, you're going to want to discipline him and say, hey, you're going a little out of control. He's not going to take you seriously when you say that. You understand? One day, you're going to go up to him and say, hey, I don't approve of what you're doing. He's going to say, I don't care. I've always been doing this. And that's a hard road to go down. It's hard to retrieve any sense of parenting superiority or discipline over your son when you've let him do whatever he wants his entire life. So it's that fine balance in between. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's that you cannot be too strict. I've seen that backfire too many times. Too strict, keeping a leash on your son 24/7, tracking him, saying, where are you, where are you, where are you? No, that doesn't work. I know way too many people who rebelled against their parents who did that to them. Then there's the parent who lets their kids do whatever they want. That also doesn't work, because once you give up your role as a parent, it's hard to go back to becoming a parent and having any sort of authority over your son. And you do have authority over your son, living under your roof, and he's not an adult yet in many cases. Some of your sons may be adults, but you still need to act as a parent. Finding that fine balance in the middle, where you give him freedom, you allow him to make mistakes, expressing your disapproval along the way in a calm manner, saying that you want to help him and guide him in the right direction. But you're not judgmental, you're not yelling. It's not a fighting match where you're just going back and forth and it turns into months, years even, of a strained relationship and you don't know how to retrieve it. This is a very passionate topic for me because I know how I was in high school, and I know how this is how so many other young men are as well, and parents are really just trying to deal with this the best way possible. That's why I decided to become a coach for young men. When your son is hearing from you that he needs to change, he's saying, who is this? You know, of course you're his parent, but he doesn't take you seriously. I'm sorry to say that. You're way older than him. You haven't grown up in the same, generation as he has. You don't understand the problems that he has on a personal level. But I do. I'm only 20. It was just a few years ago that I was in high school and I was struggling with all these things. So I very much understand what young men face today, and it's different than ever before. So I want to thank you for watching today's video. If you'd like to learn more about me, what I'm about, you can click the link in my bio. There will be details about what I do. You can check out my other pages. And I really hope that we foster this relationship with each other over time, and you continue to watch my videos, and I'll continue to support you in any way that I can. I want to thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one.